Real quick, before we hop into today's video, just wanted to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, my wallet. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm trying to keep it down a little bit because I think my roommates are sleeping. It's great to be back. Today it's time for part 2 of our OP14 section of the Scrubbing Out series. I'm back at the original tournament of our Scrubbing Out series, which was the case tournament. If you remember all the way back in, I believe, OP12, we had a case tournament where we played Red Yellow Sabo and got absolutely demolished. Today, we're going to try our best to get some revenge. So I'm taking Blue Yellow Boa, the same deck from last video, which I've been labbing out a lot at locals and doing very well with, to this new case tournament with the hopes of doing well again. So for those of you who don't know, a case tournament, unlike a regular tournament, contains more than just the default 1 pack and tournament pack or 2, with the potential of getting like a winner's pack and some store credit. A case tournament has a higher entry fee, but if you win, you get literally a whole case of whatever the set is. Okay, so I lied. You just split a case. So you get like 6 boxes. This case being OP14. So it's a much higher stakes tournament than your regular tournaments. And as such, much more people bring their A game. Now, you might be saying, why are you going to try and participate in this case tournament? Aren't you like a scrub? Isn't that the whole point of the series? Yes, 2 reasons. Number 1, the love of the game. I gotta do it. Whether you wanna call it for content or for funsies or just to get dogged on, I love the One Piece trading card game. And as such, I go to pretty much every locals that I can get my grubby little barcode in. But more so than that, I'm going because I actually have confidence in this Blue Yellow Boa Hancock deck that I've been running. I've played it in 4 or 5 locals so far, and I've top cutted, I think, 3 out of the 4. The worst one being the episode that I showed you guys where I went X2. I got 4th at the next tournament I went to with it, and then I got 10th at the 3rd one that I went to out of, I think it was like 37 people. But the issue with that one was that specific locals only did 4 rounds despite having so many people. So I was actually in a tiebreaker for 3rd place with 9 other people. So if we'd had another round, I have full confidence in my ability to have won that round and gotten the top cut placing. And then I played a small 4-man local on Discord and I did win that one. I don't know, I've just been really feeling confident with this deck. I've made a couple slight tweaks, which I'll put up on screen with the deck profile here while I'm talking. And I really think that with those tweaks and my experience with the deck so far, that I have a decent shot of competing against all these other really good players. Heading to this locals, I'm really excited for this case tournament. I want to do well and hopefully win. Obviously, that's the whole point of competition. But I really want more than that to check and see just how much we've improved since that first episode of Scrubbing Out where we got absolutely demolished. If you guys like the videos like this, the vlog styles, please feel free to drop a like down below. Hit that subscribe button because it's free. It helps me out a lot. And hit the notification bell so that you never miss an upload or post. Feel free to hit that arrow and share it with your friends. And leave a comment in the comment section down below saying what your favorite deck is in this format, or if you'd like to see any other kind of content from me in the future. I'm gonna go ahead and stop yapping now, and I'll see you guys at the locals. All right, guys, there's about 5 minutes until this case tournament starts, and I'm so nervous. There's so many people. We're definitely gonna start late because the line right now is huge. Look at this. Out the build. That's the first time I've ever seen out the building. I'm so nervous. Somebody said there's already like 50 or 60 people. Ooh, it's gonna be crazy. I mean, a lot of people will drop out after the first round or 2, but yeah, no, I'm super stoked. This is crazy. This is the fullest I've ever seen it. Guys, there's so many different decks here today too. I'm kind of nervous. I mean, I've seen everything from the default like Emu and Ace to Green Bonnie to Kuzan. I mean, I even saw a Black Yellow Luffy. This is gonna be one of the tournaments. I think I saw a Vegapunk. It's just, we're all over the place. This is gonna be crazy.
And then
So brave. All right, I'll see you guys in the first round. All right, here we go. Round 1. Round 1 we played against Croc, and that one came down to like the last card, so that was really cool. I didn't really go into too much depth on the first game of this tournament, just because the first 2 rounds happened back to back, as me and the Croc had a very close game that pushed us to time, which required me to go straight to my next match. But this game was very close. Black Crocodile, in my opinion, has one of the highest skill floors and ceilings of the new decks of the format, just having a lot of really cool options, like the Mr. 1 being able to rest your characters and attack them on the turn it's played, the Crocodile 8 drop just being able to freeze a body and then blow up from your leader and freeze another one. Really strong. He was able to effectively freeze a lot of my board, reducing my pressure late game, and it ended up pushing the game into a very close last counter scenario where my opponent, because of one small misplay, was unfortunately just 1k counter shy of closing out the game and being able to survive my last turn so that he could kill me on the crackback. Very close game, and shoutouts to my opponent PermaBanned for a really well played game as well. We both had a really good time, and he told me later that that was one of his favorite games of the day. So shoutouts to you, PermaBanned, and thanks for the really excellent first game. All right, guys, we got first round, going to table 13 for round 2. Round 2 is against Mihawk. Had a pretty good game. He took first and saw pretty much exactly the curve that he needed, so it was really tough. But I managed to get him down to 0 life, and he stunned my full board. So all I had left was just my leader, and I had Perfume Femur and like no good plays. I only had 1 life, so there was no way I survived the next turn because he had like 5 good swings. So I went ahead and just committed to the Femur. So Femur plus 2k my leader, then dumped all the rest of my Dawn. I even had the extra one from Ran, so I was able to swing 16k on blockable. Not that he had a blocker, but swung 16k. He had 4 cards in hand, and he had 2 4k events, the 1 3k event, and then the Mihawk on board for a 2k, which gave him, I think, counter up to like a 17 swing. So yeah, he ended up just having everything that he needed. I didn't even have the pudding to like shuffle his hand back, so that was just unfortunate. Just got really lucky. But yeah, round 2 was a loss. Super frustrating that he lucked out like that, but it is what it is. Sometimes people just get lucky, you know. So I'm gonna keep playing, but we're not winning the case today. Alright guys, and so for today's full-length game review portion of the video, I decided to go with the round 3 game per the specific request of my opponent, who, by the way, super chill guy. I'm sorry I forgot your name because it's been a second, but shoutouts to you, man. You were really cool, and I really liked playing that game with you. He was on Black Yellow Gecko Moria, so that is going to be our round 3 matchup here, and he asked that I go ahead and analyze this one in a VOD style, just so that he can look on some things to improve on in the future. I'll go ahead and give my thoughts just kind of as I react to it live. Yeah, here you go. So this is going to be round 3 versus Black Yellow Gecko Moria, a matchup that quite frankly is not in our favor usually. So we did fortunately win the die roll here and decided to go second, right? Because Bo Hancock wants her curve. So Gecko Moria starting off with probably the strongest card in their deck, being Sindri, milling 5 cards. Luckily they do not see a Perona off that mill, which is a death toll for our deck. So we're going second, and here I think we just go for a Hiyori to stack our life. Yep, and that's what we're going to do. So we go Hiyori, we're going to take the bottom life, add it to our hand, and then we are going to stack, I believe, is a Ran on top because we don't have a Gorgon Sisters, and pass to the Gecko. So one thing to note, I did put in, if you'll notice from my deck list earlier in the video, 2 Gravity Blade Raging Tigers into my deck, specifically for this matchup, and also it's supposed to help in the Yellow Luffy matchup and the Mirror match as well. But Gravity Blade Raging Tiger being especially brutal in the Black Yellow Gecko Moria matchup. And so what you're trying to do with that card in this matchup is wait until the Gecko Moria player tries to heal. So you want to pressure down their life quite aggressively, right? Faces the place with Boa. And then once you get them low, the Gecko Moria player will probably pitch a couple bricks in order to heal, because they'll have a board established from you attacking with triggers, so they'll get rid of the cards in hand to heal. When they do that and they have a low hand count, you're going to want to use your Gravity Blade Raging Tiger, assuming you have it, to remove 2 bodies and swing and pivot fully into board that turn and try to clear it. And so that was my game plan going into this matchup, and luckily I also got my curve, which meant that I could play all of my cards out when I want to. And so here, the Gecko Moria player doesn't have a great 3-Dawn turn, no Absalom, so he's going to swing 5 with the Sindri. We knew it was a Ran, so we play out Ran and draw a card. He goes 5 with Leader, and we're just going to pitch out a 1k Counter Searcher. And as you can see, guys, right there, that in our hand is the 7-drop Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. You should only need to resolve 1 in order to do well into Black Yellow Gecko Moria, in my opinion. So that is why we decided to pitch out of the Lilith Searcher there. And we have another Lilith just in case. So I go top 4 here, looking for something good. I think I just take the Slave Arrow, yep, for a good defensive option. Seeing as we played the Hiyori earlier, right, we can just get that 2k later on in the game as needed. So we're going to go with our other 3 Dawn here because we already used one for Lilith. We're going to play the Marguerite. Again, not a huge fan of this card, guys. It is card minus in your hand, card neutral on your opponent's turn if you trigger it. Again, not great considering all of your other cards are A+. So we're going to play out Marguerite, search out the 9-drop Boa Hancock, which we were missing, and then we have to trash one from hand. So I believe we pitch out of the Perfume Femur. We don't really need to clear the Sindri blocker. There is an argument to be made to clear out the 1-cost yellow card, right? The You'll Frighten Me, but that card can be technically infinite counter later on in the game, so we do just pitch out of the Perfume Femur. We can always draw another one if we really need it, but I doubt we're going to in this matchup. And we go board here, so we're going to clear the Sindri with our Ran, and then we go 6 life, and our opponent takes and triggers out the Kikunojo. Super brutal, guys. I wasn't too worried about their trigger bodies because the only thing they could get back was a hog back from their trash, but it doesn't matter because they triggered out Kikunojo, which is even worse for us because not only is it a 6k body, meaning that it demands a 2k on swing, but on top of that, right, if I kill it, it gives them a life. So a very annoying card, but another reason why Gravity Blade is so good, right? Because Gravity Blade is going to be bottom decking those characters, and as such, not giving those Kikunojos the trigger that they want. Another thing that's crazy about the Gravity Blade into this matchup is their 6-drop Black Gecko Moria that plays a card from trash on play. 6-drop 7k power. Very strong card, but also within the cost range of that Gravity Blade Raging Tiger, which is why I run 2 Grav Blade versus like 1 Grav Blade, 1 Red Rock, or 2 Red Rocks, right? You can get rid of 2 bodies at a time without KOing, and it includes a lot of really good bodies in both the Mirror Match and Gecko Moria, as well as Luffy. And so he's going to go 6 into Ran. I decided to let the Ran go because we're low on hand size and even lower on counter. And now our opponent is going to play out the Dr. Hogback, the OG one from OPO. I believe that's 6. He's going to play that out. You put a couple cards from trash back and then grab a card to hand. And I believe he just takes the Sindri. No, he adds the Dr. Hogback back to hand. Okay. Yep. So he adds the yellow Hogback back to hand. Now he's going to swing for 6 at my leader. I take and no trigger. Guys, this tournament, I had very few triggers. Out of an approximate 25 life that I took this tournament, I think I triggered maybe 8 bodies, 9 bodies. So, yep, taking Akuma off of life, and he's going to pass turn to us. We already have 2 life, guys, and we're only at 6 Dawn, which is kind of scary considering that now we should Kuma, theoretically, but if we Kuma, then we cannot protect our Marguerite. I decide that Kuma is the best, right? Just trying to turtle up as best we can. So I'm trying to decide if I want the Kuma. We're just going to start with a 5k poke at their leader first with Marguerite, just to see what they do. And in this matchup specifically, you also want to swing your small bodies first if you can, because they can trigger out a Perona and stop them later if you're swinging with something else. So I go 5k at their leader, and here they do something very smart in my opinion. They go ahead and counter 1k, but not on their leader. They counter for Kikunojo instead. And there's a very specific reason why, right? In One Piece, right, you can counter for a character that is not currently battling. And so the reason why he's doing that here is because all of the Thriller Bark triggers from life require you to play a card from your trash. Well, as you can see, his trash has 3 cards in it here. He has a Lilith, a Kikunojo, and a Gecko Moria, black one. Because of that, if he triggers now, he won't be able to get another body out because all of the triggers play a 4 or less Thriller Bark from your trash rested. So what he's doing is countering with the Hogback that he added for his leader, or excuse me, for his Kikunojo, and taking the life as damage, using the Hogback so that when he takes his damage, which is going to be a brick bat, I believe, he can play out his Dr. Hogback from the trash. And I think it's supposed to be rested. I could be wrong. Anyways, so he gets a free body out for that by countering for a different character. So very smart on his end. And now I'm looking at 2 5Ks, a 6K, and his leader. Kind of scary considering that all I can do this turn is maybe heal 1 life. And my hand is very bricked right now, guys, remember? I think the only counter I have is 2 Kumas. Yep, so we're going to go Kuma. Because of the rest of my hand being so bad, I think I decided to pitch out the Slave Arrow, which is really unfortunate, just to heal that 1 life. And so now that we've done that, I think I decided to go another 5 into lead here. So willing to risk that last trigger. He's definitely going to give us a card, though. He doesn't want to go to 0 yet. So he gives us a Sindri, and we pass turn to him. We have a Marguerite sideways, which kind of sucks. He can clear that for free if he wants because we don't have a Dawn on leader. And we have a Kuma and 3 life with like 4 or 5 cards in hand and only 1k of that being counter. So in a pretty precarious spot, guys. Now, the real issue with Gecko Moria for us is A, they're more aggressive than we are, which is pretty scary. But B, they can heal just like we can. Additionally, they also have access to the 9-drop Boa Hancock because Gecko Moria is also a 7 Warlords of the Sea leader that is yellow. So they can also make us take a life to hand without triggering and heal 1 as well. So very, very scary. And then, of course, the leader can heal on top of that. So a pretty scary leader for us for multiple reasons, right? So now our opponent is thinking pretty hard. And he decides to go into the 6-cost Gecko Moria, playing out a Lilith from the trash. And the Lilith coming out from the trash is going to search the top 4 for a trigger, right? Same as our Lilith. Very, very good card in both of these decks, right? As they're both trigger focused yellow decks. And Gecko Moria also just very strong because it puts a Dawn on your leader, in addition to bringing back any body with a cost of, I believe it's 2 or less, maybe even 4. And so he's going to take the yellow Dr. Hog back, right? Just another great trigger card. Coming back rested and on KO, giving him a body. He's going to put that rested Dawn onto his leader. And then I believe he's just going to start swinging with 5s. So he's going to go with the Dr. Hog back first for 5 at Marguerite. I'm going to let the Marguerite go. There's no reason to keep that around, even though I would counter or like take life if I could. And now he's going to play over the Hogback with the Kikunojo. And here you can actually use your leader skill here, which is activate main, KO one of your Thriller Bark type characters. So you can KO that Dr. Hogback right there, give your leader and all of your characters plus 1000 power. And now he's going to swing for 5 at me with Dr. Hogback. And here I take, and we luckily trigger into a Ran and draw a 2k counter. Guys, heaven sent. And so here I should just 2k with my Gorgon Sisters. I don't think there's a reason not to. I think that he did do the leader ability, which would mean that his Kikunojo is currently swinging for 7 and his Moria is swinging for 7 as well. So I go ahead and go 0 cost pitching out of the other brick, the 1k event, right? Just not wanting to leave a Dawn up for that. And so he's going to swing for 7. I take this as well, and it's not a trigger either. It's a 2k counter though, which is nice. And now he's going to go into his leader skill. When he attacks, he should have done that first technically, but leader skill when he attacks, pitching 3 and healing. Yeah, so just a little tip for our opponent. He declares his attack without ever stating that he wanted to heal, which he needs to do from the get-go. I take the life, and then he says, oh, I wanted to do the attack, which is fine. Just in the future, remember, it is a when attacking trigger, so before I take the damage, that does happen. It can influence my decision, but he's going to pitch out of a 9 cost, a 4 cost Dr. Hogback, and the 8 cost Gecko Moria to heal. And now we can see that he has, I think it's just 2 cards left in his hand. And so now, guys, this is exactly what I wanted to see from my opponents. Unfortunately, I'm only at 8 Dawn, so it's going to be really tricky to try and clear a board here. I'm going to have to hope that he's bricked up. And he does have a 1 cost event as well. But this is definitely the turn we've been waiting for. So what we're going to do here is go into the Lilith with our Lilith. He's going to let it go. We're going to go for 7, hit the Gravity Blade Raging Tiger, and target the active Gecko Moria and Kikunojo. And so that's going to put both of those cards on the bottom of his deck. Boom. And so now we've cleared 2 bodies, 10 Dawns worth. And then we're going to use the Ran to put a rested Dawn onto our leader. And then I'm trying to figure out what the best math here is to clear. I swing 5 into 5 at the Dr. Hogback to see if he wants to counter for his board or if he's bricked. And I believe he lets this one go, if I remember correctly. Yes, so he lets this one go. That tells me, okay, he probably doesn't have any counter in hand. So at this point, I go 6 into 6 at Kikunojo. Worst case, he gives me a counter, and then, yep, we go 8 into 6. Now I'm asking for 2 more cards out of his hand. I think he has 2 cards in hand. So I'm asking for perfect counter out of his hand and all of his hand. He lets it go and heals 1. So he is at 3 life and 3 cards in hand. But guys, look, we have 1 life. We still have like 5 cards in hand, and our board is relatively untouched. So he has no bodies to pressure us. The worst that he can do is stack everything on lead and send it at lead, or I believe he's at 9 Dawn, so he could go with the 9 cost Boa Hancock to heal himself to 4, right? So starting life total and make us take our last life. But at that point, guys, all he can swing is a 5k. I can counter out of that. We have a Kuma. We also have 2 2Ks in hand. So we are set up pretty well if he decides to go like a medium body and then swing as well. And our opponent only has 3 cards in hand, so their options are very limited at the moment. And yep, he is going to just go into the 9 cost Boa Hancock, leaving no Dawn up, making us take our last life. Unfortunate, it was the Gorgon Sisters, so he would have been able to trigger it out. And then he's going to go with the blank 5 at our face. I believe we give him a 2k here so that we can possibly Kuma heal. Yeah, so we're going to give him one of the Gorgon Sisters, right? Just so that we have that Kuma as an option to heal later. Healing going to be very, very crucial now that he has low bodies and we can focus board if we need to. We draw a Slave Arrow, guys. Super, super clutch at this moment. That is the other copy of Slave Arrow in my deck. Really glad that we are able to see that now, as that's going to be a great defensive option with our Hiyori still being on board. And so now I finally hit my 10 Dawn turn, and there's a couple options I have here. Luckily, I have the 9 cost Boa to heal 1 and make him take 1 without triggering. On top of that, I have the Ran, so I can equip a Rested Dawn and still leave 1 up for a Slave Arrow to bounce Hiyori back. So I think that is probably the best course of action here. The other thing I might be considering is going Kuma, Dawning up a little bit and trying to pressure life more aggressively, and then leaving 1 up for our Slave Arrow. But I do think, honestly, to preserve hand size would be the best option here, because I don't really want to trash any of those other cards, other than maybe the 4-drop blocker with the Kuma. So I'm going to go 9-drop Boa here, make him take a life to hand, and I will heal 1. And then we'll go Ran, put a Dawn onto our leader to protect our Kuja Pirates. So so that when he attacks them, he has to take a life to his hand without triggering. Very, very strong against a trigger deck. So we're going to put one onto our leader, and then we should swing 5, 6, 7, 6, 7 with our leader and Kuma. And so at this point, guys, we have a couple options. The first option that I was looking at was sending the 5k Ran at leader. That might get a 1k. He might just take that to trigger out a body. 6k leader, he might 2k that, might trigger out a body. And then 7k Bartholomew Kuma. With how many cards he has in hand, he probably takes the Kuma swing. But that would only put him at most at 0 life. However, it gives him 3 chances to trigger out bodies, right? I don't want him having more bodies. I have 1 life. I have a couple counter in hand, sure, but if he just splits Dawn and swings a bunch of 7s or even 8s or 9s, I just die. So what I decided to do here is after I play the 10 drop, make him take a life without triggering and healing 1, I'm just going to pass with the 1 Dawn up for Slave Arrow. This means that now he only has this 9 cost, 10,000 power Boa Hancock and his 5,000 power leader to swing at me with. The worst that he can do to me, the absolute worst, is make me take this last life with another Boa Hancock and then heal 1 and go to 4 life. But even then, I don't die, right? Because he still has 2 attackers. He can only put 1 extra Dawn on leader and swing 6. We can 2k out of that. And then he can swing 10 with his Boa Hancock. We already have a confirmed plus 6k counter because we can go Slave Arrow with the 1 Dawn, returning our Hiyori, and then discarding that same Hiyori to give us an extra plus 2 to 6k, so we counter up to 11. So we don't die next turn, even if he goes, worst case scenario, another 9 cost Boa Hancock. Now, there is the possibility that he goes 8 cost Gecko Moria and either plays out a Perona or heals it to life. But I'm pretty sure at this point we still have not seen the Perona, so he can't freeze our Ran, which is really sweet for us. Or our Kuma, I guess. It can also freeze Kuma. But besides the point, he hasn't seen a Perona yet, so we are still in the green light zone to just pass turn to our opponent. So now our opponent's in a pretty sticky situation because we're effectively starving him, and he only has like 4 or 5 cards in his hand. So now we're going to see what he decides to do with this. So it looks like he's going to go 6 here, play out the Gecko Moria, bringing back Hog back, and giving Arrested Dawn to his leader. I think he remembers it later, but right now he forgot. He goes leader skill, blows up the Hog back to give all of his guys plus 6, and then Hog back can bring back any 4 cost or less character with a trigger from his trash. So he brings back a Kikunojo. Pretty annoying if I'm being honest, because we already killed that once. And now he's going to send 10 at me, and he has 4 Dawn up, so pretty scary. Considering, actually it's 11, sorry, because he blew up one of his guys. I go ahead and take this life. And I think it's a trigger. Yeah, so we're going to Rayleigh trigger and kill that Gecko Moria, which is pretty sweet. And the reason why I was trying to decide is I didn't know if I needed more power or not. So he's going to swing a blank 6 at me. I'm going to 2k out of that with the other Gorgon Sisters. We have 4 cards in hand, guys. So a little hairy, but we're hanging in there. And he's going to go 4 with the Perona. So he left the 4 up for Perona. That's why he didn't swing any extra. And he freezes our Ran. So our Ran can no longer attack. And again, we're at this scary situation of 0 life. Our opponent has a bunch of attackers and 3 whole life that we have to chew through still. So it's not looking great for us. But we have 5 cards in hand. And we have a decent enough board even if one of them can't swing. I'm not even sure what the right play here is, guys. Honestly, we could try to kill their Boa Hancock with our leader. Excuse me, with our 9 drop. We decide to go 7 life, so he's going to take that. Are we just not going to go board here? Yeah, I'm not sure what I was cooking here, guys. I don't know why I swung face first. There's no way that we lethal him out. Now, I think part of the thing here was I was considering the options, and I'm pretty sure that they're bricked. Because knowing Gecko Moria, they usually keep like 1 Gecko Moria in their hand as like a good big body that they can play to emergency heal. And I'm also thinking that they might have their 1 cost event in hand because they had been leaving a Dawn up before, but never really used it. So I'm considering that they have a potential 2 bricks in hand, but confirmed at least 1, especially in this style of a deck. They either have a Boa Hancock or an 8-drop Gecko Moria in their hand. It's kind of like when you're playing against an ace, you can confirm at least 1 to 3 cards in their hand are going to be a brick. They'll always have a 10 cost Whitebeard and or an I Am Whitebeard and or a Gold D Roger for their hand. And sometimes a 9 cost Newgate as well. They're going to have at least 1 brick in hand. Now, and that leader, it's a little bit worse for math because they can pitch 1 to free 2k, but that's semantics. I'll talk about that when we get an ace game eventually. But in this deck, I can confirm at least 1 card in their hand is, I would probably bet a kidney it's going to be a brick. So a lot of thinking here going on as far as math. Lethal math here, guys, is some of the hardest math to do in the game. And so it's honestly not even a great idea to go lethal here, but I'm looking at my hand and weighing the options, and there's just not a lot of great ones. I mean, I have a 4-cost blocker. I could go 4-cost blocker plus Kuma, but then I don't have the Dawn up for Slave Arrow. So I decide to send, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 at lead with Lilith. And so I'm asking for 2 2Ks here. And I know he only has 3 cards in hand, right? Because he just took the 1. So he's trying to decide if he's going to counter or not. So he's taking a bit of a think here. He's looking at his trash right now as well. So he takes that life as well, going to 4 cards in hand. So now I think what we can do is go 8 lead. I mean, we have the Rands, so I could probably play out that Lilith Searcher in hand first just to try and see what else we can get. So I go ahead and play out the Lilith Searcher for 1, and we look at the top 4, grab any card with the trigger. We're probably just going to take that 2K there. I don't see any reason to grab something else. Yep, we're going to grab the 2K Shakuyaku. And so now we have all that rested Dawn. We're going to go Rand to put 1 on our leader. I think the best play here is we go 9-10 with our Boa Hancock. It's either 8-11 or 9-10 with our leader. And I'm looking at his trash here to see how many 2Ks he has there. I know he played the Sindri earlier, but the issue is, right, he's been stacking a couple of them to the bottom with his hogbacks. So I don't remember exactly the number. I think it was only like 2 or 3 2Ks that we'd seen go to his trash. So I'm thinking he might have some in hand, but I also, under the assumption that he has 1 brick in hand, right, either being that 1-cost brick bat or his 8-drop Gecko Moria, I'm like, you know what? We're going to try it. I'll get a little risky. I'm going to go 8K at leader. If you have 2 2Ks, you have it. He takes the last life, and I think he's trying to decide if he wants to trigger or not. He goes ahead and triggers with the Lilith. Very scary, because that means he can grab a 2K. And he's going to take a 1K, which is Perona. And so I'm thinking, okay, if he has a 1K, that means I know confirmed 1 is a brick, and 1 is a 1K. So he only has 3 cards left in his hand. And if we're still operating under the assumption that 1 card is a brick, then that means that he only can have 6K more counter in his hand out of those other 3 cards, right? And so I'm just trying to explain like how the math works in this game a little bit. So if we're operating under that assumption, right, assuming he's had that 1 brick the whole time, and now he hasn't had that 1K the whole time, out of those other 3 cards, he's taken 3 attacks. So when he had 3 life, that means that he only had 2 cards in hand. Out of those 2 cards, he doesn't have 2K, 1K, which means we know that one of them is a brick because we were operating under that assumption. So now, the most that he can have in his hand is a 2K. Otherwise, he probably would have countered out of the 7K swing. He now has 3 cards in hand and 2 life, right? So I'll go back here. 3 cards in hand, 2 life. So I send the 8K Lilith at him. So now we know that out of those 3 cards, right, the most he can have is 2K, 1K. Or excuse me, the most he can have is 2K, 2K. So this 8K swing, I probably should have swung with my leader first for the 8K. Oh, no. So the reason why I didn't swing Lilith here, or why I didn't swing leader here instead of Lilith, was because Rand can only equip to an Amazon Lily, excuse me, to a Kuja Pirate. So I can only equip it to my leader at this point, or this Hancock right here. So I swing for 8K. This 8K is checking that that 3rd card is or isn't a 2K, because otherwise he gets out of this. Because obviously he's like, oh, he just put 6 down on a character, he's going for lethal. So we're checking to see if that 3rd card that he has right here is a 2K. And so when he takes his 8K attack, we know that the most he can have is brick 2K, 1K. And now he takes this 3rd life, or this 2nd life. So now we know that he has brick 2K, 1K. So now what I'm doing by swinging 8 with my leader, and this is where the gamble was I know the most he can have now is brick 2K, 1K, 2K, which is 10K counter. Now, he could also have brick 2K, 1K, 1K, which is 9K counter. The real answer here, after I play out the Lilith and do my search or whatever, the real answer is I should realistically probably go with a 9K swing, because that means unless he got a 2K off of his life, he guaranteed can't get out of this swing. But I send 8K. That was the gamble, was I was daring him to have drawn a brick or have not an extra 2K in hand, right? To only have 3 1Ks. So I swing the leader for 8. Now he takes that last life. That tells me that he had at most 2K, 1K, 1K brick in hand. So now we know for a fact that the most that he can have after getting that last 2K is 2K, 2K, 1K, 1K brick, which if you do the math, right, that's 6K counter, which means his leader can only get up to 11. So the only way that I lose this is if he somehow baited me with an extra 2K, or if that last card isn't a brick. This last life right here, even if it is a 2K at this point, under my assumptions from the math, cannot save him. And so I feel confident enough to send my 11K at his face. And that's where the Lilith comes in. The Lilith right here means that he could grab a 2K and fix his hand. But like I said earlier, even if he gets a 2K, his hand isn't going to be good enough to get out of this. Grabbing the 1K all but confirms this, because now we know for a fact his hand is at most 2K, 1K, 1K, this 1K here from the Perona, and then either a brick or a 1K, but it's probably not anything higher than a brick, because if it was, he would have countered out of earlier. So the most his hand can be is +5, which gets him to 10K. 11K is better than that. The only thing he can have is like a surprise 2K that he could have been baiting us with. I've all but confirmed that he more than likely doesn't have enough counter in hand to survive this 11K swing, so I'm confident enough to send 11 with our boa, but I sent 10 just in case. And this way I have the slave arrow, but our opponent doesn't have it, so we are going to get the game. And honestly, looking at this next turn, if he played nothing else out, right, and he just had the Kikunojo, Perona, and the Boa Hancock 10K, I don't think we can get out of it with 0 life, because we have Slave Arrow to bounce back our 2K to hand so that we could get out of a 10K swing. And then if he just swings 7s, yeah, we only have 2 2Ks and a 1K. There's no way we're surviving that. But he didn't have it. And if we look at his hand here, guys, yep, it's going to be Brick. I believe that's a Kikunojo there. Brick, Brick, 2K, 1K, 1K. So we managed to perfectly read his hand there based off of how he was countering out. Super risky lethal, but it did end up working out. And sometimes, guys, that's the risk you have to take is, do I make it another turn? No. Okay, well, how's the best way to do this turn to make the most out of it and try to win? So we did manage to eke out our victory there. GG's to my opponent. Very, very close game. Yeah, I just got very fortunate with him not seeing the cards he needed for counter. But yeah, super great game, my guy. I hopefully will see you in a future round of locals, and I'll see you guys in round 4. All right, guys, round 3 is over. We played against Black Yellow Gecko Moria, one of those awful matchups, and we got really lucky. He didn't see like any Peronas until almost the end of the game. The one Perona that he did see almost cooked us, so we had to do a really risky lethal. Yeah, we were able to squeeze that one out. So current record is X1 still. Getting ready for round 4 here. Really close game, really good game. So me and him both have fun. Good luck in the next round, and I will see you guys in round 4. All right, so that was round 4? Yeah, that was round 4. So we're going into round 5 right now. Barely got against Red Green Luffy. All right, guys, so round 5 is over. Had to play the mirror match for the first time. That was interesting. Lost die roll, so it already wasn't looking good. And then on top of that, the only thing I saw that was like decent was a grav blade, which I had to take off life. I didn't even draw it. I think I got 1 body triggered out that whole game. Saw no 9-cost boas, so I couldn't heal with that. Yeah, I just kind of got bodied. I mean, I'll show some of the footage, but I think I was just losing like the entire time. I drew all my puttings later in the game when he had less cards in hand. It's just, yeah, I got bodied. There's not really much to say about that. I just lost to RNG, in my opinion, because lost die roll. Every single life he took except for 1 was a trigger, and one of the ones that he didn't trigger was a Rayleigh that killed something. So X2, probably don't top cut now. I think there's only gonna be like 1 more round. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in round 6. I'm gonna try to not let this tilt me, but it's just like really, really disheartening to like lose so hard to RNG and stuff. And then round 6 was against my boy Dano again. Shoutouts Dano, thanks for watching my stuff. But he was playing Black Emu. I once again lost die roll. 0 and 4 for winning against Emu. Pretty cool. That game was trash. I don't think I only triggered like 1 or 2 bodies, and I had to stack one of them. So again, just not triggering what I need. And then on top of that, my last couple life was like events and gravity blade. Just nothing that I could actually use against an Emu. So that was unfortunate. I didn't see Perfume Femur either. They were like a couple cards down from where my deck was at when I lost. But turns out 67 people showed up to this case tournament. That's a ton of people. And so we got 25th today, which is all right. I would have liked to do better, but luck wasn't on my side, as it would have it. But we did get the double pack for getting 25th, which is pretty cool. Yeah, but I will be cracking this open when I get back home, as well as those other packs. Good tournament, learned a lot, had a lot of fun. I don't think I played against a single deck that I regretted, other than the mirror match, just because I lost the die roll. But we learned a lot from that mirror match too. Did not regret putting in gravity blades, because every game that I used gravity blade, except for the mirror match, because we were so abysmally down bad in that game, we won. So I played against the Gecko Moria, right? And the Gecko Moria, I was able to full board clear with a gravity blade. Absolutely absurd. Ton of people there. Got to see a lot of different decks. A lot of my boys were there. Did really well. We actually had this one guy who's been bubbling for like ever. He actually won. He was playing Ace. So Ace did win the whole tournament. That was pretty cool. So I will crack those packs when I get back home. I'll see you there. All right, guys, and here we are back at the house with our loot from today. So I'll go ahead and switch over our camera so you can see what we've got. We have our 5 tournament packs. We have our 1 pack of OP12, and then we have our double pack set 9, which is 2 packs of OP14 and 1 of 2 limited edition Dawn cards that only come in this double pack set, being either a Crocodile Dawn, I believe, or a Dofi Dawn. So I think technically we did break even, because these right here are 2 packs of OP14, and these right now are currently $28 almost. So our entry fee was $25, and these were $28, so we're up on that. and we basically got this and these 5 for free. So without further ado, I'm going to scoot over here a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and open these, starting with the tournament packs, and I'll end with the OP14. All right, so that's our 5 tournament packs there. Next, we'll do our pack of OP12. And our OP12 pack luck from our Treasure Cup was insane, by the way, so I think we might be out of it for now. Yeah, we got a leader pack, Sadness and Sorrow. All right, we got a Rosinante, and then for our rares, we got Calgara and Borsalino. All right, not amazing, but it's there. And now for our double pack. All right, so we'll start with our Dawn pack here. So it's just one Dawn card. Trying to be careful to not damage it here. All right, let's see what we got. And 3, 2, 1. Boom, and we got the Crocodile Dawn. Super sick looking. It's got like this grainy texture on it for the sand. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's like a grit. Kind of hard to see on the camera, but very cool. I'll sleeve that up. That'll go on my Crocodile deck when I eventually build it. And now we have 2 packs of the Azure Seas 7 OP14. Let's start with the first pack here. See what we get. We got Vergo for our rare. And we got a Kikunojo SR. Okay. Not amazing, but we'll take it. I don't plan on building Kozuki Odin anytime soon. And last but not least here. Okay. And then we have Pentachromatic Screen, Eustace Kid, and You'll Frighten Me. All right. Not a terrible card to get. Don't mind that one, but no crazy hits. All right, guys, that is going to be our packs that we pulled there. And that is going to do it for today's video. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Just like I said at the beginning of the video, if you liked today's video, please feel free to drop a like down below. Leave a comment saying what your favorite part of the video was or anything that you'd like to see me do different. Subscribe because it's free and it helps me out a ton. And hit the notification bell next to it so that you never miss an upload or post. And feel free to hit that arrow button so that you share it with your friends and let them know what's going on. Anyways, guys, it's been a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great one.